Alright, so basically I'm pretty much just releasing my Wurm macros. They're for Wurm Online. You're gonna need a program called autoit. Just Google it and grab it. Basically all of these on this menu, they're just creation macros. They create items for you. Inside this improve section, it actually does image detection. So basically, there's one for blacksmithing. It'll detect what item it needs to improve it. It'll improve it. It'll automatically repair it if it gets damaged, and it'll wait a delay, and it'll move to the next item. And it'll just keep going through the list. It'll do everything for you. I'm gonna go ahead and start Wurm here. I already have a character I just made for this. He's stuck in shitty gen killing. Basically, there's another folder inside of here. Where was it? It's the image search source. Do not mess with anything in here. This DLL and this folder contain everything about the image detection and how it does it. So you can edit all this shit. These are all the pictures. You can see in the bottom down here that's going to open in Photoshop, so I don't want to do it. But basically, there's a picture for repair. It has 0.00. So if the damage column does not equal this 0.00, it knows that it got damaged and that it needs to repair. So it's going to search for. It uses all these other things to search in the image to see what it needs to do. See if there's one for the whetstone, one for water, one for an awl. It basically has one for everything, a mallet, all the improve items. But we're going to go back first to the main menu. Let's open up our Wurm place here. I don't know where we're at, but basically we're going to open this forge. Nothing in here, of course. I just lit it a few minutes ago. We're going to open this. Let's take out some wood scraps. Let's take out 20 wood scraps. Make them into a pile. Okay, so I'm going to activate my carving knife, and we're going to come here to this first one, the kindling. I'm going to exit out of that. If you edit a script, it shows you basically all of this runs off of hotkeys. I'm pretty lazy, so this shit's pretty unorganized, and a lot of them will say like make lock, and I just reuse it for another one. So you have to kind of decipher this shit yourself, but basically X almost starts everything, and X sets the main location, and Z is almost always starting it on your keyboard, and escape always quits. So for this one, I know I have X and Z. X is for, see, I didn't label it right. I'm a dumbass, whatever. I didn't think I was going to release these, but I know what item I'm using to create this. So if I wanted to make one, I could press a bracket because it's going to do one make lock. But other than that, it's going to run a loop and continue remaking those items. So basically, let me just show you. I'm going to run a kindling one. So I'm going to push X on the wood scrap, or I press X and then I click OK, and it's telling me what to click on. I never change the label. Small anvil in this case is a wood scrap. So then I click on it, and it says the position set, you're ready to go. So you hit OK, and then you press Z. It's going to right click, and it's going to go through the menu itself, and it's going to make two at a time. And it'll wait a delay. Now this character sucks, so this is going to take forever, but basically it queued two, it's going to wait the delay and do another one, so you can just go do whatever. Now your carpentry skill or whatever it's based on, you need to adjust your timer for how long it takes you to make two of them. So you edit this script, and I didn't even need this. Like I said, this is going to be a clusterfuck if you're trying to look at it. I didn't need that one. It's going to sleep, which means it's going to pause for this random2 variable, which is right above its local random2 equals a random number between 25 seconds and 25.2 seconds. It's in milliseconds. So you could change this if you're really fast and it takes you 3 seconds to do your first kindling and it takes you 3.8 to do your next. You could change this to 8 seconds and then 8.2. basically the reason I have it random between these two is to make everything have its own random. Like you'll see I have completely different variables in here. That way they can't, if it is that accurate and they're detecting for your macros, you're clicking stuff at different times. And you could up this, you could add 330 milliseconds. So it's taking this random number and it's adding here, subtracting, adding, making it different in between each action. And I could just, that makes it a lot different, adding more, but I never had a problem with this. But so basically what it's going to do, it's setting a random time because it's running. It's setting a random time between 8 and 8.2. And it's going to move your mouse to that lock location, which I've never changed, which was your lock location. It's going to move it to that point. It's going to make a lock once and make a lock again. And then it's going to sleep for this random time. And basically it's going to call that function make lock, which is up here. This whole function it's going to do twice. And this is the nuts and bolts of what it's doing. Basically what it does, it right clicks there, and you can see it, mouse click right. It waits 1 second because there's a delay. You see that delay when it was refreshing? That can mess you up because sometimes this create won't come up quick enough. So it just waits a second before it moves. Let me move this over. So you right click, you go to create. That's basically right here. Now what it's doing is it does this image detection. It's going to find this line. It's always going to find that line. And it's going to add 40 pixels down from that line, which is always at the create. It's going to sleep a minute, and then it's going to move over 1. It's going to add 150 pixels, but keep that 40 coming down. Moves over 1. And then it's gonna move over. It waits another delay, and then it moves over another 100 pixels. So it goes over, and then it clicks. So it just repeats that twice. And now they're kind of sneaky what they do. When you right click, you can see if you right click again, it moves the menu to try to keep people from macroing. And it made it kind of hard to do. But what basically this does is it finds that line. You don't really need to know how it works, but it finds that line, and then it adds 40 pixels, and it's always on it. It never misses. That's pretty hard. That way you can't just you have to actually find something in the image every time. And you could always find the create. I'll show you in a bit in that image detection. So you could have it right click, and you could have it find create, and then just move the mouse to it if something ever happened. But it works perfect. So that's basically that one. I don't want to save. Like here I have iron lockpick make fast 1, 2, 3, and 4. Another sneaky thing they do is they change the location in the menu. So basically, let's say I had a log. If I go to create weapon, sometimes shaft will be here, sometimes it'll be here. So it's random. I don't know how they determine it. So I have one in the make menu on a small anvil. There's 4 possible locations to make a lockpick. So I have a macro for each slot, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That way it can just, I don't have to adjust the pixels each time. And you can see if I'll show you real quick. That way you're going to have to do some editing on these for your timers and stuff. But basically this one adds, the last one is 260, so it's adding coming down 260 pixels for the first one. And you'll see this one. Oh, I'm sorry, it was the second line. You can see it added. It's about, also on here, it's 16 pixels, so you can make your own. When you go to create weapons here, the difference, this whole little black box is 16 pixels. So if you're in the middle of this one somewhere, and you want to go to the next one, add 16. It'll be in that exact same spot on the next one. So basically, it had added some here. And that was the one that made it come down one more. And you'll see that in the third one. You can see it's 80 now instead of 65. I only added 15. But basically, I put it in the third line coming down. it was the second, and now it's the third, and the next one add 16 being the fourth. Let's see. A lot of these are extremely complicated. Like this one. This one's kind of dangerous. I wouldn't be using this one too much. But this one does, I mean, it does everything. It, see, I haven't used this in a while. Wait, that's not it. Yeah, right here. This one's like one of the most complicated, but this one uses image detection. And basically this one starts mining and it'll eat, it eats, it drinks. When the wall breaks, it walks you forward into the wall. You're going to have to play with these. I mean, it's going to be hard for me to explain this one. But this is the most complicated one. But basically this one just mines and it just keeps walking forward every time it breaks and makes sure it waits. It even detects your stamina, so it waits till that stamina is completely full before it starts the next mine action. So you can go through this and get how I did a lot of it, and then you can understand it yourself. Basically, let's see what else we got. We have ones here for basically everything. You know, like the making bricks. Where's that? Yeah, I'm disorganized. I haven't played this in forever. So, like, make bricks from BSB. This is a good one. You basically get your chisel. And again, I don't relabel my shit because I'm a dumbass. So, I know what I need, but you're not. So, you're going to kind of have to see what... It's always... The make lock is always the function. I've never changed that. I've used that for everything. So, basically, this one uses X, C, V... So you set the X, and it's going to be like the bricks will be in the left column. You'll have a BSB open. Let's see, put that there. We'll pretend the logs are the bricks. So basically, you'll set, let's see if I can do this. Get from BSB. X. Oh, I don't have all my buttons set. This isn't going to work good for me. I don't have all my... Let me see if I can run it. Okay. The title items. Item in BSB. So you press that, and then you press start. It's going to pull over, pause, it'll type 3 or whatever, 4 it's pulling out. I can't carry that way because I'm a fucking noob. And then it'll right click and go through the options. Now, it did that itself. I didn't touch that. So it would create the items, wait the delay, and it'll do it as many times as the rocks takes for to make the bricks. And it'll have the little scraps, but what it'll do is at the end, it'll drag the bricks over, and it'll do it again to drag the rocks over and put everything back into here. Yeah, my mic died, but it'll put everything back into there. You can just restart it. It'll restart itself, and it'll keep going forever. I'm going to plug my mic in 1 second. So there's going to be some playing. You know, there is one for everything. I mean, the improve is the main ones, and I'll show you how to use that, and that'll probably be it, and then you can just figure out the shit yourself. But basically, if I run... Oh, what do I got? Let's say I'm going to run blacksmithing. The first thing you need to do, so you know, is to edit it so you can see what it needs. And it needs a lot. And I have it set across the bottom of the keyboard. Z is always start. Then you got X, C, V, B, N, M. And I actually changed the labels on these because it was kind of confusing. So basically X is... I don't remember what X is. Oh, X is the upper left, but I didn't change the label, and I can't change it here because it's calling a function. So X is the upper left, C is the lower right. On it, V is a random item, and I'll explain it why it does that in a second. B is the lump location in your inventory, N forge, M timer, and then Z start. So basically, you run here. Let's open this. Let's pretend this is the forge, because it has items in it. It's going to have improve items all in here in the forge. So the first thing you do, let me run the macro first. Okay, so is it running? Yeah. Okay, so you press X, the upper left. It's asking you. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to set the upper left area. You're going to make a box around these items to improve. It doesn't matter how big it is because it's going to search inside this box. So now I had hit that. I'm going to click up here and make sure you're to the left of the improve column and above it anywhere. Okay, and then I'm going to hit C, and it says lower right. And I'm just going to click over here down and to the right of that improve column. It doesn't matter where. Now I'm going to hit V. Now you're going to click on a random item to move the blue bullshit. Now what that means is when it goes and clicks and improves the item, it leaves this blue here, and it changes the color of the improve item. So the image detection doesn't work anymore. So at the top of your list, you need to find the main item. When you have a list of items, it'll have one in there that doesn't have an item to improve. It's like the main list. And you just click on that one, and basically you just set it to click there so it moves this blue away from all your items every time. That way it can do a proper search through your list. Now that was V. So now I'm going to hit B, the lump in the inventory. Where the bottom of your list, if you already have a lump in your inventory, you just click on it. It would be like right here on my inventory. N is the location where it'll be in the forge when it drops it, because it keeps it hot. When it doesn't need it, it drops it in the forge, and it will automatically keep it hot. That way it can pull it out when it needs it. So you click in the bottom. If it's already in there, you just click on it, but you click on the next line if it's not, and then give it that location. And then you hit M. Now this list tells you what order you need your tool belt in. So you have your tool belt on with 5 slots. You need to put your ore in the first slot, the whetstone, hammer polish, and the water in the 5th slot. You need to bind I to improve, or to fit, bind I to improve, and then R to repair, and then Z starts. And this is how many minutes to run. So you could have it run for 20 minutes. You hit OK. Now everything's ready to go. You need to press Z, but we're going to go bind that real quick. We're going to bind. See. That's another thing. You can't type when the macro is running, because all those keys are assigned there. So you have to quit if you want to type. That's an annoying thing, but we're going to exit that script, and we're going to come back. Bind. It didn't exit for some reason here. Bind I improve. Bind R repair. And it's not going to work because I don't have it set up in a forge. But basically, you already have all that set up. You got your tool belt set up. You would just hit Z, and it's going to go through this list, and all these items that have the improve items, it's going to go through them one by one. It's going to hammer them all. And it's going to hammer this one. If it gets damaged, it's going to wait a second. It's going to repair it, and then it's going to re-hammer it. And then if it doesn't get damaged, it'll move to the next one. It's just going to keep going. And it's going to keep your ore stuck in here, and it's going to pull it out when it needs it, and then it's going to improve, and then it'll drop it back in to keep it hot. And basically, I mean, there's a lot on here. I have them for everything. Like, you can fletch in a BSB, it'll do it. It'll pull 30 arrows out, and it'll improve them all without the log, dump them back in, pull another 30. Basically everything. Improve your stone cutting. Ores for shipbuilding is designed specifically to improve ores. These are all image detection improve macros in this folder. What is this? I don't think this one works. I was working on a tailoring one. I think I put it in here. I'm not sure. But all your images are in here too. And there's one in here for stamina too. If you need to detect for your stamina, that one works. I think that's about it. see if any of these other ones I need to. You're gonna have questions. If you have a question, just post it on YouTube or whatever. I'll see. You'll check it once in a while. Maybe I'll answer them. But you can basically figure out. And worst case is you just make your own, use this stuff. Because a lot of it, they just use the same scripts over and over, and you can understand if you look at it for a bit. But yeah, if you have any questions, just post a comment or whatever, and then I'll answer it. All right, later.